attract people in here tonight. Dance with me, baby. And it's you running through my mind. Stay with me, baby. I might even wine if you give me time like you want this.
All right, so welcome back, everyone. So the Human Resource Management Association of Trinidad and Tobago, HRMATT, will host the latest edition in its signature series of Csuite Conversations on June 12, 2024, under the theme Productivity. It takes place at the Hyatt Regency Hotel. So to tell us more about it, we do have Cavelle Joseph-St Omer, President, and Sarah Arneaud, PR Committee member of HRMATT. Good morning, ladies. Thank you very much for coming.
Good morning, Marvin.
Cavelle, yeah, I was just telling Cavelle about this hot red outfit. She was liking the cast that we were playing just now. You know, I just had to put that on the table this morning, right? So, Cavelle, tell us about this C-Suite conversation on productivity.
All right. So, C-Suite conversation is one of our signature events, and for this edition, we are tackling the topic of productivity. It's absolutely necessary at this time in our history. We're just coming out of the pandemic. We saw a lot that impacted the world of work and impacted severely productivity in different sectors, across different sectors. Some of what the measures that we had to put in place to address COVID did see or result in a dip in productivity for some sectors. Some businesses did not recover as a consequence of that. And now that we're trying to get back on track, productivity is a hot topic. Yeah. For us in HR, we see the outcomes of it in terms of what people experienced during that time and how it has impacted their performance and their efficiency, which ultimately impacts productivity at the end. It's a lot of it's an intersectionality of issues when you look at it and you consider it. At the macro level, you might look at the national GDP, you might look at output versus input, and really what the end game is in terms of national productivity. And that's a conversation that must be had at a different level as well when we consider the future of our country, the economy, and the impact it has for the overall development of our citizens. Then at the micro level now, which shakes you to the organization and the individual. We've seen over the past couple of years people be impacted by burnout, mental health issues, a whole lot of things happening that impacts the individual and their performance, which ultimately impacts the organization's output at the end of the day. Yeah. So we've pulled together a nice panel that will now help us appreciate and understand what is productivity in the first instance, and help us to consider some measures we could utilize, not only to measure it, the metrics involved in measuring it, but strategies for improving it as well. At the end of the day, we want to come up with solutions. We are solutions-oriented as an organization, yes. And we want to ensure that we equip our practitioners with the tools that they need to support their organizations to improve productivity.
Yeah. Sarah, tell us about the event itself. What can we expect?
So in terms of the event, some very key topics that Cavelle would have mentioned will be covered in the event. So we'll be looking at some global trends as it relates to productivity. We'll be examining some productivity metrics. We'll be looking at remote work and flexibility. We'll be looking at the whole concept of employee well-being, mental health as it relates to productivity and performance. So those are some of the key topics that will be covered. And I mean, at the end of this, persons will be able to go back into their companies and take in some actionable items in terms of how they can improve productivity and also performance, as Cavelle would have mentioned. So those are some of the key areas that will be covered at this event. Yeah,
and you feel that these areas that you all are covering, these are some of the challenges that are being faced by employees in the main these days when it comes to productivity.
Well, it's that and a whole lot more, because when we consider even the impact of technology and whether or not we choose to embrace technology rather than fear it as well, because technology could be an enabler to make you more efficient, and it could result in improvement in your productivity. But there's also the fear of persons, individuals. So there's digitization, there's robotics, there's AI. There's so many different things now impacting the way we work. And employees now, more than ever, they are asking for alternative work arrangements to make them more productive. Just last week, we saw a company, an architect firm in Trinidad and Tobago, experimenting with the 4-day work week. Other countries have done it, and they've seen an improvement in productivity. how will that work for us, say, in Trinidad and Tobago, and whether culturally, as a society, we're disciplined enough, whether or not it could work here. But there's so much we could do when we dissect it and come up with strategies that could be unique to the organization, because not everything is a one-stop-fit-all, as you will say.
Yes.
I'm not too sure if I'm saying that correct. But
I understand what you're saying.
Yes, but you know, so we just want to really, through the panel, and I mean it's an excellent panel that we have put together. We have Dr. Andre Vincent Henry. He is actually the chair of the National Productivity Council, and he's at the Cipriani Labour College as an executive director there. And that gives you a balance between the labour perspective as well as what the work of the National Productivity Council is doing. We have Dr. Paul Balwant. He's a member of the Productivity Council as well, but also a senior lecturer at the campus at the UWI. And there's research that is happening, and we need to understand what that research is showing us. We have Dr. Marley Nats, and she's an economist, so we'll get the economist perspective. We have Kiran Maraj. She's the CEO of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And again, you want to hear the business sector opinion on it. And then, of course, Vashti Gayadeen, who is the CEO at the TTCSI now, services sector. And I can zero in a little bit on the services sector versus manufacturing. In fact, Sarah and I was talking about that before we came here, right? And Sarah works in the manufacturing, and I mean, like, she could chime in here at this point too, in terms of how we even look at it from a sectorial perspective, because for the services sector it's very difficult because of the interaction and the interface with the customer and the outcomes that you're looking at later down the road. Sometimes it's direct on the spot, and then sometimes it's outcome related, which is a futuristic measurement. And Sarah,
we were actually here talking about manufacturing, and like in manufacturing, we have so much like key performance indicators that you could use to measure productivity. So something like OEE, which is like your overall equipment efficiency, like those are like measurable productivity tools that we could look at in manufacturing. So we were having that conversation about services versus manufacturing, and that there are some outputs that you can measure very clearly versus outcomes that you can measure from a services point of view. So, I mean, as Cavelle said, we have a nice mix on the panel, in addition to which we have Mariana Brown, who is the CEO at UB Lockjaw Global School of Business, former Minister of Trade, former Minister in the Ministry of Finance. So we have a very well-rounded panel to share in terms of productivity in various sectors and industries in the country.
Yeah, ladies, you all have a list of hard hitters there, you know. The only person that is missing is me, you know.
And you are invited to attend.
But not only that, I mean, we also have a solid moderator in Paige Gillian. She is, of course, no stranger to you, I'm certain, coming from the same industry. And we always try to really get the best for our members and for those who attend our events, to make sure that they leave there feeling a little bit more knowledgeable, empowered to make a difference in the workspace, because that's our agenda at the end of the day. Human capital development is what we do. And we have a multi-sectorial, I say multidisciplinary approach to it. So many different aspects. It could address the topic of human capital development, and HRMATT tries its very best to do so.
But ladies, let's be honest here. Organizations really care about this human resource. Have you seen, I don't mean to sound bad, but I'm just putting it on the table this morning, you know, who vexed loss, right? But to me, are they really investing in the human resource? Because, you know, sometimes when you express a little concern about certain things, you're seen as a rabble-rouser, and you're looking for trouble, and sometimes some people could be victimized and so on. Has that, I don't want to say perception, but has that trend changed over the years?
Well, I would say it's based on the organization and the leadership within the organization. And, of course, also the strength of the person leading the HR function as well, too. Yeah. I could say in my organization, for certain, we invest in our people without a doubt. In fact, during the COVID period, we invested further because it's the one downtime that the company had. In my organization, we're very much on delivering on the company's mandate, which takes us into overdrive most of the time.
Yeah.
COVID was a good time for us to kind of focus on our strategy and focus on the development of our people. And we had an online academy launch. We focused on mental health and wellness, so we launched our gym. There were so many things we did during this period that we couldn't have done before. And again, that's based on
You
the
have a
leadership.
gym?
Yeah, we have a
Okay,
gym,
all right.
a corporate gym. And I can tell you, it's based on the leadership of the organization,
Yeah.
and they support the work that HR does in that company. I'm certain Sarah has her own experience, but it doesn't mean that in the past I did not work in companies that did not have that approach. And it required a lot of negotiating. Of course, naturally, I get a lot of no's in this job as well, too. And it required me to strengthen my ability to build a business case for what I'm promoting. Most of the time, leaders want to hear what's in the end game.
Of course,
right?
the bottom line,
yeah,
right?
the bottom line. So it meant that I had to be a little bit more skillful in presenting the arguments to get my yes. And depending on the type of leaders within the organization, if they're so moved, you will get a yes. But there are those that, you know, are the different generations as well, too, in terms of how they see it. But as new generations rise into leadership roles, the perspective is shifting and changing as well. So, I mean, I could say I've had a mixed experience, but generally good experiences leading HR in the respective organizations that I've been in.
Yeah, Sarah?
Yeah, and just to add to what Cavelle said, I mean, I think the HR, like, things are changing. I feel like people are more focusing on, it's more employee-centric, and definitely where I work, I mean, it's very talent-focused, career development, employee development, providing support with mental health, employee assistance, employee engagement. I mean, so I feel as if like the transformation has taken place, so it's not just your regular HR doing payroll or leave management. I mean, I think the role of HR has evolved, and I feel very fortunate to be in a company where that is at the forefront, where people are the forefront and human resources are the forefront.
Yeah, HR, Cavelle and them have a gym, something to think about. Yes, studio? Something to think about. Gym may not be bad at the headquarters here. Ladies, we just have about a minute again. How do we register for this conversation on productivity?
Okay, so this event has been advertised on all of our social media. It's on Facebook, it's on Instagram, it's on LinkedIn. So persons can just go online. It's on our website, www.HRMATT.com. Persons could go on to the website. They could contact the Secretariat to be a part of this event, which is on the 12th of June at the Hyatt Regency.
There's still time to register.
There is still time to register.
Yeah. Cavelle, what would be the biggest takeaway from this event?
Well, first, besides the knowledge to be gained and getting the tools to take back to your organization, we're also big on networking and providing opportunities for those in attendance to meet with key people they perhaps wanted to meet, providing that space where you could, in fact, conduct business in this environment just the same way as well. So we're there to, of course, take in and soak in all the knowledge that we need to soak in on that day, but also to network and to create those connections. Collaboration is the way to go for us. And it's something that we promote at HRMATT, working together collaboratively. You don't really have to reinvent the wheel sometimes. So you may perhaps learn from another organization that is in the room doing what perhaps you would like to introduce in your organization. And if I say, Sarah, in your company, do you all have a policy on so? Have you implemented this? Right there in that space, you may connect with someone who could assist you on a project that you're working on. So we want to create the right environment for nurturing and developing our practitioners, and for them to see the beauty of collaboration more than anything else.
Yeah, Sarah, we have about 10 seconds.
And just to continue to be the leading voice of HR in Trinidad and in the region. So we want to just provide that space and give persons that opportunity to be a part of it.
Yeah, ladies, it was a pleasure speaking with you all this morning. Thank you very much. Yeah?
Thank you for having us.
So we are going to a very short break. We're coming back, everybody.
So let me ease up the tension. Katayas, baby. Push back, katayas on me. This time is all yours, baby.